Today we're going to talk about the issue of anterior tilting. It is something that affects men and women, but it's more common in women. What I mean by anterior tilting is when you stand, start taking notice of how you stand. Most of us stand with pushing our hips a little forward and we get this little sway in our back. When we do that, we are not allowing our glutes to do the job that they're made for. And you have to remember your glutes are the biggest muscle in your body, so of course you want them to work. When you are tilting your pelvis forward, your glutes aren't working, you're putting more tension on your hip flexors, so our hip flexors shorten. It can cause knee issues, it can cause back issues, it can cause ankle issues, plantar fasciitis issues. So what I want you to concentrate on is tilting backwards. It's taking your belly button and it's pulling it back to your spinal column. And what that'll do is posterior tilt your pelvis. This way, now your glutes are activated, it takes off some of the pressure off of your back. So I'm going to show you a few exercises to help you with that. But for the first thing I want you to really concentrate on is how you're standing. Pay attention to how you're standing. When you're in a group, look at how other people are standing. You don't want to be here, you want to be here. And it's going to feel awkward at first, but like everything else, perfection comes with practice. Just keep practicing it and then it'll become second nature. So the first one is dead bugs. It's just like what it sounds like. You're going to lay down on the ground, and see I have this big gap between me and the flooring. What I want you to do is do that tilt. So you're lifting your glutes, kind of tucking them in, pulling that belly button down to that spine. So now my back is flat to the ground. Then we're going to lift our knees right over our hips. I don't want them away, and I don't want them too close. I want them right over your hips. You can raise your hands up in the air. Some people were even tied up in these shoulder blades, so this is difficult. If that's the case, rest your arms. Not a big deal right now. Now what I want you to do is concentrate on keeping that back flat on the ground as you lower one leg slowly. Get as close to the floor as you can with still keeping that back to the ground. Bring it back and then switch and do the same thing on the other side. Now if you notice when you're lowering, you start arching, then I don't want you to go that low. Just go to where you can go with keeping that back on the ground. So what you're concentrating on is keeping that posterior tilt, not anterior, posterior. Just go for 10 reps in the beginning, 10 each side, and then work your way up, getting lower and lower. And then you can get to where you're working, to where you have your hands raised, and then you can alternate that arm and your leg. The next exercise is a hip extension. We're going to be in the same position down on the ground. Don't worry about where your arms are. We're not adding any kind of extra weight to this yet. If you put your hands, your thumb right underneath your glutes and reach out, your heel should be coming right to that middle finger. That's about a good width right there. Do that posterior tilt, so tuck in the glutes, lower the back, rest your arms, and what I want you to do is push right through those heels. Come up and squeeze the glutes as hard as you can. When you lower, your back again should be hitting the ground before your glutes. We don't want to hit here because that's just strain on the lower back. You want to come up as high as you can. What we're looking for up here is that we have a nice flat surface. We don't want to be tilting backwards there, and we don't want to be arching here. We want a nice straight line. Back hits the ground first, come up, squeeze and pause, and then back down. One of the main causes of having an anterior tilting pelvis, and when I say anterior tilting, it actually tilts forward. It's because we have short hip flexors. What causes that is being sedentary. It's sitting at work, it's sitting on your commutes, it's sitting at your kids' sporting events, it's sitting. That's why I'm a big component. You'll hear me harp a lot about get up and walk every hour, get up and walk, move. So one way to help fix that issue, practice the exercises I told you, but the other one is to stretch. We've got to work on this hip flexor. So to do that, you go into the runner stretch. You have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I like to start with my hands right on that lumbar spine here for protection. Make sure you're pulling that belly button in and you're pressing forward as far as you can go while leaning back slightly. And what we're looking for is a stretch here. Once you've gotten really good at it and you don't have to worry about that lumbar spine anymore, you don't need that support, you can really push forward into it, focusing on that stretch back here on that hip flexor. That's what we're working on there. and then you just release out of it, and then do the same thing on the other side. The last one is the vacuum. It sounds silly, you'll feel a little silly doing it, but it really, really works. Ladies, you'll see a big difference. If you practice this every single day, you will see a slimmer waistline. You won't have as much of a pooch, which we all seem to complain about. It'll also teach you to engage your core more when you're doing any kind of exercising. If you're exercising and you're feeling it in your lower back, that's one big sign you're not engaging your core. Sounds easy enough, but it actually takes practice. This is what we call the vacuum. So when we talked about that posterior or the anterior tilt, when you're standing, we're focused forward with our hips. What I want you to do for the vacuum is I want you to pull those hips in. So we're rounding out the glutes, squeezing them, pulling the belly button in. Take a deep breath, exhale. With that next deep breath, I want you to hold, pull it in, hold, twist. Until you can't hold your breath anymore, relax. And then you do it again. Take another deep breath, exhale, then pull that belly button in, twist. This is going to teach you how to engage your core with movement in there. You work up to 15, 20 reps, and then work up to more a day, more frequently throughout the day. This is why I like to do these for that 100 rep challenge that we're doing, because you can do 10 sets, 5 sets of 20, whatever you need to get up to that 100 reps. But it's a good practice, and practice makes perfect, and this is one that you have to practice all the time to get it right. You do these 3 exercises in the stretch I told you, you will be standing taller, you'll have a slimmer waistline, you'll have stronger glutes that'll be more engaged when you're doing lunges and squats and deadlifts, and you won't have any lower back issues and knee issues anymore. It will really help correct that. And ladies, it's a big one if you have any incontinence issues. You know, after you have those children, they say Kegel, Kegel. I say vacuum, 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 and learn how to posterior tilt. Have fun.